Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sunday, the 2nd of February, 2025. And you've got the comments video, and you have the weather. The weather right now, it is 45 degrees. It's 6:48 a.m., about 3 miles outside of QUARTZSITE, Arizona, boondocking in the desert. And today we're going to have a high of 81 degrees, a low of 56 with completely sunny skies. And the wind outlook for the next 10 days is we got a couple of days like Tuesday and Wednesday where it bumps up against 10 miles per hour, and that is nothing. That's nothing. That's a pleasant breeze, especially if it's 80, right? So wind is not an issue for the next 10 days, and neither is temperature. Today, 81. Then I'm going to give you, starting tomorrow, Monday, every high temperature for the next 9 days: 85, 82, 77, 78, 76, 71, 69, 69, 69, 67, 68, 70, 71, and 72. And the lows range from 45 to 55. February is known as really the best weather month in QUARTZSITE in the winter. It's just wonderful. It's fantastic. It's exciting. I love, love, love it. So let's get going with comments. All right. So you're going to see a lot of these comments on, I announced that yesterday, February 1st, was my first day as a Medicare patient. I finally qualified. I've been paying into that sucker since I was, 16 years old. And I'm about to turn 65 this month. And I've been paying into that Medicare thing, and now I've got it. They still make you pay, right? You do pay more. Before I started looking into it, I figured, well, Medicare must be free. I've been paying that tax my whole life. No. Parts A and B is like, I think it's $185 this year, and it'll come out of my Social Security check this month. And then I pay like 160 or something for the Part G, and it's messy. And then another 79 or something, or 81 for Part D. So it's over $450 a month I'm paying for it, but it's great coverage. The most I can have out of pocket is $221 a year. Anything can happen, and boom, it's paid for. It's good. I'm happy. So Win Gypsy says, congratulations, new Medicare enrollee. I'm right there, 8/1, August 1st, and will be a nomad in the fall, heading to QUARTZSITE area for the winter and can't wait. I'm a social worker and worked for the Area Agency on Aging in Maine for many years and provided a lot of Medicare counseling. Understanding how it works is important. See you next year. And Carmen, I'm not going to try. Carmen, I think I tried your last name before, and I think I didn't do well, so I'm not going to try again. Happy Medicare Day. Naj says, congratulations, Rob. You are covered. Yahoo. I said to my campmates Saturday morning, I said, look, if I go down, don't hesitate. Call 911, call the helicopter. I'm covered. I even have extra helicopter insurance. It's like $79 a month, so you don't get a bill for if they have to airlift you somewhere. So I'm covered. If I go down, don't hesitate. Get me to the ER. QUARTZSITE comments, let's see, on Medicare Day. So Geo Grenier, as always, enjoying today's comments. Daniel and I are sitting here and realizing George is on the bed, not Dottie. Love it. Have a great day. It was later in the day, so Dottie had already been outside. George jumped up on the bed, so you saw George instead of Dottie. Trucker saves trooper. That's the positive news story. Ken Gray says, love this. His protective instincts kicked in. And then the long form video was RV stuff that does or doesn't work for me. And Ken says, good choices. When your habits change, you need to move yourself along. Yeah, I got rid of some stuff and got a couple of new things. Carried around some bulky, heavy stuff that I wasn't using, and I gave it to someone that can put it to good use. Ken Gray says Viking is a great brand, and he's talking about the the viewer that sent me the beard oil. And I forgot to put it on this morning. Right after this, I got to go put my Viking beard oil on. I use the beard balm in a can. Glad the oil works too. Randy says, thank you, Rob. It's good info. I find the older I get, the less I need or want. Simple, uncomplicated functionality. Now my big thing is I'm always checking the weight of items. Montana wife says, got a vacuum sealer per your recommendation. It's a game changer. It is. Vacuum sealers are great. You know, like I make a huge batch of Dottie's food, and then I vacuum seal it and pop them in the freezer and take them out one at a time, so it's always fresh meat. Gagooch says, happy Saturday, Brother Rob. I never realized the effects of elevation has on a generator. Thank you for teaching me something. Knowledge is power. Double meaning there. It's in the knowledge is power, especially with the generator, where I think it's about 3%, I think, every 1,000 feet you lose peak power on a generator. Unless, I mean, people have pointed out, and they're right, there's kits you can make that adjust the carburetor to compensate for that, but I didn't have the expertise to install one, and you have to change it when you go down in elevation. So to me, it was just get a bigger generator. Let's see. Montana wife says, happy Medicare Day. Ken Gray says, yep, I'm interested in the stats. I got a Blue Eddy a couple years ago on the recommendation of Hobotech so I could power when the hurricanes hit in Florida. Only used it once since then, but I not only did not lose my refrigerator food, but was able to supply ice to the neighbors. Recently hooked up my home office to the unit with an expensive module, and I charge it at night when power is a lower cost. I got the extension because when I get a van conversion or RV, I want to easily set up for power. So what he's saying is Blue Eddy is a major brand of these power stations, and he bought sounds like he bought an extra battery for it, so it becomes a huge power bank and a powerful inverter and controller for doing solar. And what he's doing is that in Florida, apparently where he lives, the rates are lower at night. The power rates are lower at night than they are during the day. So he's doing something pretty interesting. What he's doing is he's charging this power bank at night, and then when the rates are lower, so he's less cents per kilowatt hour to put the power into his power bank, his battery, and then he's during the day when the rates are high, he's using that power bank, that electricity from the prior night, so he's not paying those high rates during the day. Very smart. FSD at the lake, congrats, Rob. RV Life, happy Medicare Day, congratulations. I am Roxy the something. It doesn't show the whole thing. Roxy something. Okay, this is truly a sign there is a process of sorts and amazing timing. I have the exact 2 first items ready to bring over to the free pile at Lori's Way. I messaged her on one of her posts about how long that pile will be there. So we're talking the fire pit and the grill, or flat top grill I had. My fire pit has only been used once, and the grill has a 17-inch, and mine has the lid for it. They're both spectacular, but like you and most nomads, weight and space becomes invaluable, and our needs change for sure. Now I'm able to put my Yeti in the back of my Jeep, and I have my entire back seat open for passengers if I want. Now I'm very interested in getting an Instapot. Yeah, Instapot and the smaller Instapot and a very small air fryer. And it's an analog. It's like an analog dial on the air fryer. It's not electronic, so it's very basic. I think it was $30 some odd. And those 2 things and my skillet that's got me covered for cooking almost anything. And it's just having this big 22-inch grill out there on a table. It looked good, and I used it for a couple of years, but just don't use it anymore. John Mendenhall said, how loud is your new generator compared to the old one? Is there a big difference? Not really. Honda's known as being a very quiet generator. That was the first one I had, the Honda 2200. And the Predator 5000, to me, I can't really tell a difference. I bet because it's a bigger generator, it's probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 decibels higher. I'm going to guess and I'm just spitballing here, but I'm going to guess the Honda on Eco is probably 59 decibels, and the Eco, or not the Eco, the Predator is on Eco setting is probably 62. So I think that's probably fair. But you can find out online if you Google that. People test that stuff all the time. S. Drover, thanks, Rob, for all your videos. I just retired on January 17th and will start Medicare today on February 1st. Hey, both of us are starting the same day. I just arrived yesterday for a bit into Q, and your videos have been most helpful. I'm normally more a remote camper, but the people here are really interesting. I can see it's a great place to camp and catch up with friends. I'm traveling in my 2011 LR4 Land Rover and a 2022 Airstream Basecamp 20X. Oh, that sounds nice. Anyway, hope to run into you whilst here. I think you might be easy to spot there, SD Rover, with that combination of the Airstream and the Land Rover. I'll keep an eye out for that. Autistic train set. Funny, like you upgraded to bigger generator. Gosh, push start is so nice, and ditched the Blackstone for a big rectangle. Like you, he upgraded to a bigger generator with push start and ditched the Blackstone for a big rectangle griddle pan. I guess what he's saying is he got rid of the Blackstone like I had and just got a griddle pan for stovetop, which is a great idea. Last year I was there when autistic train set again. Last year I was there when the show rigs arrived in town. Most of the drivable rigs with hitches, the transport person has towing their own car, or 3 or 4 sharing one, I assume, to get back or to wherever they came from. Or I think they go to the next show. I think the trailers all look to be brought in by your typical professional hotshot towing guys. So the Class A's, that's what I was wondering about. I've never seen Class A's on an 18-wheeler on any time of care. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying in my travels, I've never seen one. So I think people get paid to drive these Class A RVs to like the next show. And what he's saying, and this makes perfect sense, they can hitch a car to it, and then when they drop off the Class A, they have the car to go home. And he's saying that some people probably, pitch in together, and hey, 4 of us are going to go down. We'll hitch one car. We'll all go in one car back home, or and things like that. So I know you can get jobs driving these things. There's a lot of work out there doing that. John Montalbano, is there a story posted on how Dottie and George found you? Oh, well, sort of, yeah. I mean, there's not a specific video, but it's pretty simple. My old dog, Sadie, was getting pretty old and lonely, and a woman at work said she had a relative that had a farm that they just had kittens. Did I want one of the kittens? And they showed me a little picture of a kitten. I'm like, oh, God, yes. It was a picture of George as a kitten. And so that's how I got George. And then after Sadie died, I was, of course, heartbroken like I am every time I lose a dog. Sadie was my second adult, as an adult, my second dog. And within a week, I was looking at rescue dogs. And I went to a pet store that was hosting a rescue group. And it was in December. It was cold, I remember. And I'm walking across the parking lot, and I saw a woman volunteer sitting on the sidewalk by the entrance with Dottie. I didn't know it was Dottie, but she's with this little dog by herself. And I'm like, I wonder what that's all about. So I went up and I just sat down beside the girl, and I said, who's this? And she said, this is Dottie. I said, what are you guys doing out here? She said, Dottie's pretty overwhelmed with all the activity, so I thought I'd bring her outside. And Dottie climbs up into my lap, and the girl goes, I've never seen her do that. So I'd love to say that was the moment I knew, but I'm like, okay, this is nice. This is a nice little dog, but I need to see all the other dogs. And I went in and I'm looking at all these other dogs, and I kept looking over at Dottie. I kept looking over. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little editing today, and I'm going to show you right here the picture from that day, how she looked before I adopted her. And then I'm going to show you in a second here, I'm going to show you another picture. This is Dottie the next day at home. Pretty special, isn't it? So there's your story, John. Virginia, well, you know, I put a lot into that, so I'm just going to respond to John and say, check out the comment video on, what's today? 2/2. For an answer. There you go. All right. So Dottie, you're gonna be more than just sitting in the back sleeping today. Let's see, on more comments on RV stuff that does or doesn't work for me. Virginia says, it was a nice meeting you yesterday at Solar Bills, and I said likewise. It was nice to be recognized. Renee Slater said, so funny, we got rid of the same things except we gave our inverter Jenny to our son. We bought a smaller adventure grill. My husband loves it. Renee said, we found out the same thing with our Jenny staying in Colorado, meaning that when you move up in elevation, there's less power. The generator is less power, and that becomes relevant if you're thinking of running your AC using it. And there's, when it goes up to 85 tomorrow, I'm probably going to run the AC a little bit, so I'll exercise the big generator a little bit. QUARTZSITE comments. Kathleen Ryan says, congratulations, happy Medicare Day. Thank you. On old short I did a while ago, social media filmed content no longer restricted in national parks. It's a new law. And the haunted camper said, great to know. They're neighbors of mine. Barry and Soul says, I have a question. Maybe you can help me with. I recently put a 200-watt solar panel on my car. My neighbor helped and has knowledge about solar. He specializes in home solar, not vehicles. He told me I should remove the solar panel while driving long distances. The whole point of having a rooftop solar panel was the convenience of not having to set it up all the time. I know you have access to specialists there in QUARTZSITE about solar. Can you tell me if I'm leaving the panel on all the time is okay? Sorry for the long-winded post. That's okay. I answered him and I said, as long as it won't fly off. I have 540 watts on the roof of my trailer that never comes off, and it charges as I drive. And he says, thanks. That's what I thought. It's staying on. Yeah, I don't have to consult an expert on that. I mean, I'm surrounded by people that have permanent solar panels on the roof of their rigs, cars, vans, everything, as long as they're secure up there. And especially if you use like flexible panels like mine, make sure that you really, that like mine are, mine are taped down with this special tape that, like, you know, won't come off for centuries, versus even, you can get industrial strength Velcro, to put them on your roof, but don't do it. It's bad. It's bad. Ask me how I know. I lost 2 flexible panels with that industrial, Velcro. Gone. And by the time I realized they were gone, I turned around and looked for them, and they were gone. I couldn't find them. It was expensive to replace them. But yes, you can keep, and like when I'm driving, it's, you know, it's charging. That's one of the great things. It's still getting sun. The motion doesn't hurt the energy production. So, you know, you bless your friend for helping you, but he probably doesn't know any better being a home solar guy, because we don't drive sticks and bricks homes around, so he's not used to that. But the homes that we live in nomad land here, yeah, we drive it around. Be free RVing. Thanks, Rob, for your view on these items. I think you saved me from buying the large propane fire pit. Your solution looks very compact. My only concern is prone to tipping. Hey, that's a great that comment. I said, I typed, I thought it was important to type an answer to this one. Good question. I made a platform out of plywood with protruding bolts and wing nuts, very solid. So what he's talking about is I have a little tripod that you assemble that has a flame coming out the top, and it has lateral heat, and it's really great for a little campfire, but it's just a little tripod with a hose coming out to the tank. And my first thought was, what happens if somebody's walking around the campfire and trips over that hose and that thing tips over and it blasts into somebody? It was a horrifying thought. And apparently it doesn't happen, but I don't care. I like this guy. I'm like, I'm too scared for that. So I built a piece of plywood, and it's got bolts coming up, and the legs of the tripod go over the bolts, and there are wing nuts that go on there. So there's no way it's going to tip over. It's just going to, if you trip over like on a regular fire pit, if you trip over the hose line, it's just going to slide. You know, not a big deal. But really good question. Good question. Wiki up rat. Please don't read aloud. Oh, please don't read aloud. Okay, I'm not going to read it aloud. Thanks for putting that first in the sentence. A lot of people write a whole thing and then at the end said, please don't read this comment. I have to go back and edit and take that out. But thank you so much for that. Walk in the desert and search for an egg is a long form video that I did a couple days ago. Zelda says, so glad I freeze-dried scrambled the raw eggs last summer. I have 3/4 of a gallon of freeze-dried egg powder under armed guard in my basement. The price of eggs is so high. It's like gold. On Trucker Saves Trooper, Topaz Farmer Travels says, awesome, with a whole 2 rows of clapping hands. Topaz Farmer has the love thing for the 2-1 comment video, and add Justin G. Great content, Rob. I met Amanda last week at her meetup. I've been out here in QUARTZSITE for 2 weeks. I was inspired by both of your channels. I've enjoyed watching the daily videos. Well, thank you. Thank you, Justin. Fred Fegan. Fred Fegan. One day, bring an extra water container and see how much it puts out totally for 4/4. I'm just curious. I like your channel, and you're real and entertaining. That happened the other day. I put my 6 gallons in. There was a guy behind me, and it looked like it did another half a gallon, maybe. So 6.5 gallons. Same guy says, I live with my wife in Vietnam. She doesn't watch much of what I watch, but she watches you with closed caption in Vietnamese. Go figure. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I wonder what this looks like closed captioned in Vietnamese. That's really cool. And that reminds me of today's positive news story is about a deaf girl that gets this piece of technology. I don't want to spoil it for you. Just watch it. She gets a piece of technology that changes her world in a second. It's a really great story. And today's long form video is a little unusual for me. It's stuff I was pondering and thinking about. Let's see. The title of it, Stuff I Was Pondering This Morning, Thoughts on Faith and Philosophy as a Nomad. And yes, I stayed away from anything political. I've learned my lesson. But these are just things, philosophy, faith, things like that I was thinking about as I'm walking. And that's today's long form video. And this is today's video. Not a record breaker, not a 60-minute comment video, but a 24-minute one. Who knows what I have to shoot something today because I'm out of long form videos, so I gotta come up with something to shoot today. And it's 7:12 a.m. and I'm looking out here and I see the glow of the sunrise happening over the mountains. I wish I could show you this, but even if I move the camera, you wouldn't be able to really see it the way I'm seeing it. But there's part of a mountain range that it looks like oh boy, that cartoon character, the guy that says "Duh," Homer Simpson. And it looks like him lying on his back because you see his head and the big lips. And once someone points that out to you, you can't unsee it. So every time I look at that mountain, it's like Homer's, and it's got a big belly, like the mountain has a big belly like Homer. So you look at it and you go, that's Homer Simpson lying on his back. And I'm looking at that out the window, and the sun's coming up behind it. So I'm glad I finally remembered Homer. That would have been pretty bad if I tried to describe that without saying who I was talking about. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. See you tomorrow.